Today we will speak about our emotions and motivations and how they influence our perception of social reality, our views on social processes, and our conflict behavior. How do we understand emotional processes? Common sense might suggest that the perception of stimulus leads to emotion, which then causes bodily arousal. For example, when you see a tiger, you perceive it as a dangerous object and experience emotion of fear. As a result, your heart starts beating harder and your knees start trembling. But James' peripheral feedback theory showed that emotion results from bodily arousal rather than lead to it. According to this theory, perception of a stimulus causes bodily arousal, which lead to emotion. For example, when you see a tiger, you perceive it as a dangerous object. Your heart starts beating harder and your knees start trembling. Then you feel all these changes in your body, you experience emotion of fear. Appraisal theory of emotion stresses that emotions arise from interpretations and evaluations of the situation. Our emotional reactions depend on the way we interpret and evaluate what's happening to us. The pleasant or unpleasant emotions depend on motivational congruence. If current developments help pursuit of our goal, we experience positive emotions. If there are some obstacles in achieving our goals, we experience negative emotions. Differences between emotions arise from a particular character of appraisal. Our emotions depend on who we hold responsible for event or situation. If we feel positive emotions and believe that we influence the situation, we feel pride. If we feel positive emotion and believe that other people influence the situation, we feel gratitude. If we feel negative emotion and believe that we influence the situation, we feel guilt. And if we feel negative emotion and believe that other people influence the situation, we feel anger. The cognition plus feedback theory unites the ideas of James' theory and appraisal theory. It states that the type of emotion depends on our perception and thoughts about a stimulus, while the intensity of emotion depends on degree of bodily arousal. For example, when you see a tiger, you perceive it as a dangerous object and experience emotion of fear. As a result, your heart starts beating harder and your knees start trembling. Then you feel all these bodily changes, your emotion of fear becomes even stronger. Groups have a strong influence on how people experience their emotions. There are two processes that constitute this influence. First, top-down approach. In their feelings and expressions of emotions, people orient on group norms. Group creates some rules what emotions are acceptable for group members and how they can be displayed. For example, some groups can prohibit emotion of fear, other groups prescribe very intense display of emotion of sadness. Second process, bottom up, is based on interaction between group members. They learn from each other what emotions can arise from different situations and how these emotions should be displayed. For example, in-group members learn from each other how emotionally react to the act of discrimination and how display these emotions. As emotions are influenced by in-group norms and interactions between in-group members, do they impact intergroup relations? The theory of intergroup emotions states that these emotions depend on social group. They arise from the knowledge of belonging to this group and self-categorization as member of this group. They also result from involvement and loyalty to the group, identification with it, and salient social identity. They are shaped by very different ways in which members of group see group-relevant objects and events. For example, some holidays can be very important for some groups and completely irrelevant for others. Interaction with one group can produce different emotions among members of different groups. Thus, such emotions become an essential part of social identity meaning and direct and regulate specific intergroup behavior. These emotions can lead to the problem in communication between groups, prejudice, anxiety and anger, and even hostility between groups. For example, Van Dijk analyzed intergroup prejudice as emotion, showing its roots in emotional appraisal of the outgroups and their images among in-group members. These images lead to different emotions. For example, if outgroup is perceived as ally, we feel trust and admiration. If outgroup is perceived as an enemy, we feel anger. We also often feel disgust and contempt toward groups that we consider dependent, and fear and intimidation toward groups that we consider barbarian. Our emotions also depend on the fulfillment of the basic needs. The Maslow theory shows 5 basic needs that are organized in particular hierarchy. According to the theory, satisfaction of the higher needs depends on the satisfaction of the lower ones. First, we have to satisfy our psychological needs, then need for safety, then need for love and belonging, and then finally need for self-esteem and our need for self-actualization. Other scholars, including Barton, Lederach, Rubinstein, contributed to the development of the list of basic human needs. This list includes needs for security or safety, effectiveness and control, positive identity and positive self-esteem, connections and esteem for trust with others, autonomy and self-trust, comprehension of reality, and spirituality. The emotions of people depend on the fulfillment of all these needs. Thus, we discuss different theories of emotions. In discussion this week, choose one theory that in your opinion can provide better understanding of the dynamics of conflict and provide argumentations with interesting examples.